Go.
I love you. What is life? Alright. We might have to shotgun this extremely quickly. Because I have to record my own video with my own channel. Because, you know, shameless plugs. You know? I'm actually recording from my house because
yeah,
I have a light
definitely.
and I do things with girls. So we're talking about the LEC week 2. Is it week 2? LEC week 3 day 2. We're gonna kind of do this relatively quickly because I mean like I said I have to go to bed soon. So
I was titling our last video. Sorry. G2 versus Splyce is the first match. I mean, I think it goes with. That was really loud, but
yeah.
I think it goes without saying that G2 is probably the favorites in this. I think that they are still the top ranked team in EU, but that is something I really do think this one is going to be kind of a weird matchup for them because I do think that Kabe and Orskaren is one of the more like the stronger one of the stronger bot lanes in EU. I think they've been playing pretty decent, but I think Caps is going to stomp this lane pretty hard. Xerxes is probably playing to the same extent that Yankos is, but again, Wonder's like one of the top 3 top laners still in EU. So Vizicachi is going to get stomped just like he did with Cabashard. I think this goes obviously in G2's favor, but I think if it comes down to it, I think they can get the lead in bot lane because if he's forced into a situation where he has to play a mage, I think if they can get the lead with Xerxes kind of pressuring the bot side, I think they can take over the game. I mean, Carbon North Scarin is not a pushover, and I think they're an aggressive early game centric team. I mean, a centric bot lane that kind of attempts to take over the game. And the bot lane. I think they're going to be capable of doing it maybe against Perks, who I think is just really not great on the ADC characters. I think he's decent on mages when they come into the bot lane, but I think that Caps is going to stomp Humanoid is not good enough to compete with Caps, but I do think Humanoid is capable to do stuff around the map once he's out of laning phase. I don't think he's going to fall insanely far behind. I do think he's going to lose. But after laning phase, if this team can stall out the pressure that G2 kind of exerts through the laning phase, I think they'll win. Or not. I don't even think they'll win.
I think
this is going to be on 8.2. No, she didn't get nerfed enough in 8.2. Never mind. I think that the worst thing about this is that Rakan is not insanely good in this meta. I mean, in this specific patch, so I can easily see that being one of the biggest problems as to why they can't just straight up hard engage onto this bot lane. I like this match. What's up?
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is like probably a decent matchup against them with like what I would say is a decent bot lane going against them. But again, the problem is D2 is able to neutralize Schalke's bot lane. If they can do that to what I would say is one of the best bot lanes in the league, it's probably a top 2 bot lane, I would say they could easily do it to Splyce. So again, I think Splyce has the capabilities of coming and winning this lane through what I would say is bot lane because, like, I think they have to generate pressure in bot lane. Well, if they could do that, then I could see them winning this game. But 100%, I think that the most likely case is that G2 pretty much like coast to a win on this one.
I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm not doing everything. I was gonna say the only thing I would add.
Yeah, I'm saying that
G2 is gonna win. So you're pretty much saying G2 is gonna win. I think that if they're gonna win, Kabi and North Garen are gonna have to learn how to sufficiently punish if they have a lead because games that they've lost, they've only ever lost games that Kabi and North Garen haven't been able to sufficiently carry the game. That's why they've been losing. Any games that they've lost in me. Like the game against Vitality, they didn't sufficiently punish Attila, and Splyce won the game. Splyce just didn't, push their advantage. So that's my thing with that. But yeah, that's it. I think G2 beat Splyce easy. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. XL versus Schalke. And why is Schalke not going?
I did it. I titled it. So Schalke versus who? Why do they not win? I mean, I could find a few things. I think that Cagel's pressure around the map he's been generating is a really good thing. I think that it could probably help this team kind of, and when they do not fall too far behind, I think that as we saw in their G2 game, I think they do kind of do stuff with the lead, but I just don't think they do enough with their lead. Like Excel is they're better than Rogue, but to what extent I don't know. They have better laners. I think that Cagel again. I think Gagel's going to be the big deciding factor on what way this game's going, but Memento's better than him. So it's going to be a big what if for me. Big can he do enough? Because even though Memento's better, the kind of fog of war that and kind of the unknown factor that the jungle can generate because you can't see what they're doing, it's going to be enough. Because I don't think Schalke's incredibly smart. I just think they're aggressive and a good mechanical team. I think that if it's going to come off the back of Cagel's ability to generate pressure in the, what I would say is probably going to be the mid lane because I bet it.
I just don't think Excel have
Mid.
What Schalke
I would say.
Schalke has pretty much
Yeah, he's not great.
Except for
I think Humanoid's fine. I think that all of the three mid laners that just came into the league are average. I think all of them are average and they can go up. Yeah, I do think Humanoid's the best out of them.
I think Humanoid is better than both of them. But Abadage is like...
Oh, I mean, 100%.
Much out of this guy. Like,
I mean, but...
This is definitely a downgrade from Nuke Dog. Like, he just can't compete with Exile, but that doesn't matter because he's not going to feed. At least, even if Abadage loses, he doesn't feed. And that he doesn't have to, like, that he just neutralize Exile, and once you neutralize Exile, Exile becomes useless. Otowanne has been shown that he's arguably, top 3 top laner right now, too. You have Memento, who's been just looking like the best jungler. The bot lane, I don't know.
We've had a few disagreements with this one, too. I mean, I really think that Ignar's playing fine. I think he had probably one game where he was bad. The rest of the game he's been fine, and I think he's genuinely been improving each game by game. And I think if you get Ignar on these carry characters, the game's over. I think he's good on, I mean, yeah, Alistar, pretty much anything.
Ignar Thresh. They deserve...
Thresh, Alistar, Leona, if you give him one of these carries, I think the Schalke instantly wins. But I think that... Yeah, they are. They're genuinely probably the third best team in Korea, EU right now. And I think they're arguably almost as good, if not as good as Misfits right now. Because Misfits, I mean, again, I think they have some decent weaknesses. So I think that Misfits is probably the better team, but it's very close. But I think, again, I think that Cagel is going to be the deciding factor. If he can get his mid lane to lead, which I think he's going to have to focus that lane. Because Expect's not as good as Otowanne, even with the lead. If he can get that lead to Exile, who I think is the weird kind of questionable factor on this team because he's so inconsistent, but he has really good pop-off games, I think they can win this game. But I think it's 100. I think it's gonna go to Schalke, and I don't know what you think. You probably might say Exile just to spite me.
I don't even know how Schalke loses. I don't even know how Schalke would lose to them. It just wouldn't make any sense. The issue with Excel is that their players are substantially just average to decent at best, and they're not hard carries. And since they're not hard carries, where do all the resources go to? You know, Cagel's put all the resources into himself, but he doesn't hard carry the game either. So now you have people who literally are not competent enough to do anything with a lead. Now you don't have it. Now you have what? Just a team that can get ahead, but then not do anything with it. Like they're substantially worse on the map than a lot of the teams are, which easily puts them behind Schalke. And even if Ignar underperforms, even if he does underperform, it's against Kasing, so it's not that bad.
I mean, again, like a lot of these things can happen, but the problem is the difference between Jessica and Upset are just too big. Like, the difference in this ADC position is too large. I think that's probably the biggest differential in the entire map. So, I think it just goes too far in Schalke's favor in that favor, but... Alright. SK and Origen?
Yeah, Schalke wins. Next game, SK and Origen.
SK and Origen. I think that SK looks like the better team coming into this. Let's be honest.
SK actually beat Origen. They don't look. They don't look. Actually, yeah. I mean, I don't like SK Gaming that much from you guys know what I've said, but like they might not look impressive, but they do look better than Origen. Origen's best player is their mid laner, and
I mean, he's definitely an aggressive laner. He puts a lot of. Remember his Vayne game against Nemesis just generated so much pressure. I mean, he can definitely play this aggressive early game. It depends on the character you give him. I think it's not the fact. I think that Origin's just consistently putting him on these later scaling characters. But Nukeduck is genuinely just whatever you need him to be. I think that's one of the biggest reasons as to why I think Patrick's fine, but Mithy is just so much of a liability right now. Like, it's ridiculous. I disagree with that. I still think that he's playing fine. I think that a lot of the reason as to why he's not playing worse than Jessica. I think that Patrick kind of looks bad because Mithy's ability to not... Essentially, lack of any lane presence is putting him in a weak position in the laning phases against these, what I would say are pretty decent bot lanes they've been playing against. But one thing I do want to say is I really like the way Cold's playing right now. I think that they've been struggling a bit, but I think their win against Fnatic really just came off of like his and Nukeduck's back. I think that Alfari's been playing moderately okay, but again, I think that a lot of the success they've had, which is very minimal, has come off of the jungle and mid lane, and I think that's kind of. I think that although I think that Cold's decent, I don't think he's as good as Selfmade. I think that Selfmade's one of the best junglers in LEC right now. And Pyrion is decent, but he's gonna get outclassed by Nukeduck. So this game could go either way for me, honestly. But I do think that yeah, they're the better team coming into this. But I think that what?
I think SK wins this. In my opinion, I think just for right now, SK win it. Maybe SK wins it.
You said SK like 7 times, and I don't know what you were saying. You said SKT can beat them later on, but I think SKT for right now wins this.
I think... Oh, no. I think SK can beat them right now, but I think later on, maybe Origen, if they...
I agree with that. I think that Wirlub, although I don't think he's a great player, is playing to the point where I would say he's not even worse than Alfari's playing right now. But I think that Selfmade is kind of mitigating what I would say is one of their stronger assets on this team, which is Cold. So I think that I just think that on top of the fact that I think this is a terrible matchup for Origen. You know, I wouldn't even say that because again, Pyrion's not going to be much of a hassle for Nukeduck to take care of. But Crownshot is going to be pretty decent against Sheriff and Mithy. Crownshot Dreams, even though I think Dream is still pretty bad. I think that Crownshot's been playing well, so. Yeah, I would agree with that. Mithy's just, yeah.
I think Dreams is better than Mithy right now.
Well, let's be realistic. I mean, if he came to NA, he'd be like not even bottom 4 supports. Because we have some garbage ones right now. It's just horrible. I think SK wins this too. Pretty not easy. I think that...
That's my prediction for it. SK win this easy.
They can play fast, but I think that a lot of their fastness comes from the fact that Pyrion's not losing. Pyrion's going to lose this lane, so I think that's going to kind of put a lot of... You know what? Actually, I think this is... Like, I do think SK Gaming is playing quite a bit better, but I think that... I mean, with the kind of pressure that's going to be taken off of what... Like, even if Selfmade ganks this mid lane, I don't think they're going to win. Like, I think that Origen's playing pretty bad, but I think that... Now that I think they can stall out some of the stronger lanes without Fari, and Nukeduck probably going to do pretty fine in this, which is something they haven't been able to do all year, and Cold again playing well, I think that Mithy's ability to shot call kind of comes into call. Like, if they can stall out the early game and not fall too far behind, which I don't think that this bot lane's one of the few lanes that I would say bot lane's not going to get smashed in or lose. I think Origen honestly is a fine team when it comes to mid to late game. But they're going to be able to get to this point because SK Gaming's just not good enough around the map besides jungle to do anything about it. So I think I'm gonna actually give the edge to Origen because I think, like, again, Origen is gonna be one of the harder matchups for them. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to say Origen. I think that I do agree that SK Gaming is great. I think they're a lot better than I predicted, but Origen is not going to get shut down by this team. I think that Selfmade is going to... Selfmade can generate a lot of pressure on the map, which I just think that Cold is going to be able... Although I don't think he's as good as Selfmade, he's going to be able to mitigate it. So, and that's going to kind of take away a lot of the power that SK Gaming has. So, I'm going to give the edge to Origen just because of the power they have in mid and jungle.
Alright. Next game.
Okay, again,
Rogue.
Rogue has shown that they are strong in terms of macro, but the problem is they are the weakest team in terms of just players. HQ is horrible, Wadded's pretty terrible.
Wadded's terrible. I don't know why. I mean, people like to go back to the whole Yarn and Wadded. Okay,
They weren't they actually generated a lot of pressure in the draft.
Beaten every single lane. They were not.
Yeah, but that's enough for anything. Like if you can force them into a pick or ban situation like that. I mean, they weren't a draft liability because Yarn could play all the ADCs and he had one really good pocket pick, so you couldn't really ban him out and you had to ban something. But I think they were a good bot lane together. I think they played.
That's the thing. Wadded himself was playing.
They were a good bot lane together. Yeah, I don't think they're singular player wise they're not good, but I think as individual players, I mean as a duo they're really decent. I think that Rogue is genuinely again Kick was in the game against G2. Was it G2? No, no. When Kick is who was it? No, Rogue. We're talking about Rogue. They're
like Rogue, right?
No.
Who did they play where they looked competent enough? Was it against Splyce?
It was their last game of the week.
They played a game last week where they looked competent.
It was G2, yeah. Their game against...
Oh, I found
it. They did. They genuinely didn't fall behind. They kept G2 from kind of running over them, and they came back. Like, I think... I'm going to honestly say that I was not too completely unimpressed with their game. Again, I don't think it was great, but I don't think that... Yeah, G2 did not run them over. G2 just genuinely did not do enough to run them over. You know what? No, I won't say that.
I think
I really
like that they can play a style, but their style is so bad.
Like again, I think the G2 esports kind of like they did win, and they won by like 10k gold, but it really only came from bot lane. Let's realize this. Everybody else around the map was doing fine. I think that all of their losses around the map came from this. What I would say is one of the worst bot lanes, the worst bot lane in EU. I don't know if I disagree too much with that, to be honest.
In the world,
Apollo Hakuor aren't even close to the worst bot lane, even in NA.
Apollo Hakuor are way better than them.
That's not NA. I mean, Apollo Hakuor aren't bad, but again, Wadded were essentially the reason that they fell behind. I think that.
That's the thing, though. If they had even in laning phase because they had a Jace.
Again, I think that G2 kind of, like, again, I have exaggerated. I do think that G2 actually did stomp this lane on this game, but it really did not, the game didn't fall behind until, like, kind of what I would say is the bot lane fell apart. Yeah.
Oh, it was a team fight. They had a team fight top, and they turned it around. It was a misplay in a team. I remember, yeah. Their thing is that they want to play through top and mid. Senkux and Prophet are not players you play through. They're just facilitators.
I mean, again, I think that they don't have any stand-up players. That's kind of why they weren't able...
Well, I mean, these players stand out if they're...
Yeah, again, I think that...
They stand out.
I mean, again, I think a lot of these players could have been pretty decent filler players for these kind of upper... like, the better teams. At the upper echelon of the LEC scene, but I think that the only reason that G2 actually ran over Rogue towards the end, like middle of the game to the early, like close to the mid game, is because their players were just bad. They genuinely did not play poorly. It wasn't stupid plays. It was like stupid micro decisions, mechanical misplays. They had smart. Yeah.
Yeah,
like G2 obviously was the stronger team. I think that without a doubt they stomped. I think I gave Rogue a little bit too much credit. G2 did not really look like they were falling behind ever. But Rogue made smart plays around the map. It's just they don't have the players to even do anything about it.
I think Vitality. This is the game where they need to show that they can stomp, because if they show that they can stomp against Rogue, that means that we know this team has even more. What's that word I would use? It shows a different style that yes, they can play through behind, they can play through the mid game, and they can actually stomp teams that are just
I think that the fact is Attila once at a laning phase is a genuinely insanely good player. So I think that this is gonna be a stomp on Vitality's side. I think that Rogue, although I think they're gonna do good against some of these lower teams like Origen and Fnatic maybe. I don't know. Like, I think that once it comes to that, I think their ability to kind of make smart plays around the map might mean more. But until it comes to then, I don't see Rogue winning a game because they just don't have. I think they can beat XL next time. I think that's one of the few teams that they are capable of. I still think they're the worst team in the league, but they do have strengths. They have strengths in their. I don't know what they have strengths in, honestly. Like they have moderately decent. Yeah, but all around, I think that Kick is this really genuinely the only redeemable player on this team. Is pretty handily.
Yeah, I think Vitality win this. This is like so much. Oh god.
I mean, at the beginning of the year, I said Fnatic was going to the finals. I still want to point that out. I said you don't have a reason to predict Perks to be.
You're crazy. You're stupid. I said best
and
top
Perks.
side.
I think we have no question. And Mickey X was decent. I don't remember anybody saying that. I think a few.
So I kind of went off that too.
I don't remember this. But again, I think that G2 obviously. I put them at number 2. Remember, but I didn't think they were the best because I didn't know enough. But Fnatic versus Misfits, I don't really see a situation as to where Fnatic should win this. I think that.
Fnatic.
I did not honestly think they'd be this bad.
Bwipo
is genuinely just way worse than Soaz right now. It's kind of incredible. Soaz is playing so much better than Bwipo right now. Maxlore might be the single best jungler in the league right now. He's been aggressive. He's been smart. He's been kind of facilitating it. Like, there's just nothing he's not doing. But by far better than Broxah. Fevin's been great. I mean, Nemesis is decent. I think that he wasn't a bad pickup. If you can't keep caps, I think that he was a fine pickup. I would have preferred Nukeduck, but yeah, I would agree with that.
I think their worst player right now actually is Febiven. Because we saw him get.
I mean, I always expected Nukeduck to be better than him. To be fair,
like Nukeduck, he lost really heavily too. He's been losing quite a bit.
Again, I would say those are two of the top mid laners. So
really hard.
I would. Nemesis is decent. I still think he can develop into a great player. But as it stands right now, Fevin's better than him. And I think that the bot lane is just so much of a difference as to the level at which Reckless and Hillsing are playing that I just don't see them losing this game. I do not think they're as strong as people are making them out to be, a clear defined second. Because I don't think they're a clear defined second, but again, I don't think Schalke is the clear defined second, but I think they're comparable to Misfits. I think that Misfits is still the best. I'm second best team, but I think that Schalke is in competition. Oh, don't turn off the lights, man. I can't see you anymore. Can I say that? Yeah. So Hansama, Gorilla, they're gonna stomp this bot lane. Reality is, if Nemesis can mitigate the pressure that Fevin generates, I think that they can maybe do something. Because no, I don't see it. I don't know what like.
They can maybe do something. What is this something?
Like again, Misfits is genuinely just too good around the map. Like if Bwipo can step back up I think that this top. I think that. Yeah, well, it's not. I don't think no. So as is a superstar, but I think he's been playing good. I don't think he's insanely good.
No, Splyce's playstyle is like he can't.
Yeah, that could also go in favor of Blippo. To be fair,
how to play against Blippo. They were sparring partners. He knows how to exactly.
I think that if Fnatic wins maybe this game, it could be the bounce back. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they probably start this year off 0-6, like.
What? I mean, they're playing Rogue tomorrow. At worst, yeah, because remember you said when we predicted Fnatic because we had to go and look. At
Fnatic. Oh, did I say zero? Did I say Rogue was gonna win that? I probably did. I could see a situation that Rogue played, but again,
did I say Rogue was gonna win that? I don't remember, but theoretically, even if they beat Rogue. I don't think they can beat anybody. Can beat Rogue. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that again, it's going to come off the top side. I don't think Soaz is a superstar, and with pressure with Broxa, I think if you give Broxa probably an early game character like Lee Sin, who I think is good in the 8.2 patch, again, we're going to see a massive amount of these junglers kind of have to adapt to this new jungle when it comes into play, because like I just don't I don't think a lot of these characters are going to be good in this new jungle. Like. Camille is not good in 6.2, I don't think. Lee Sin's going to be one of the better junglers, so I think Brox could thrive in that. I think this could be a turning point. I think, again, it's going to have to come off of Blippo and Brox's back. Nemesis is going to not lose too hard against Feven, because I don't think he's playing...
Nemesis needs to do stuff with his lead. He needs to show...
I mean, again, every time he's got his leads, his bot lane and top have been too far behind. I don't think he can do anything right now. Well, Camille, I mean, again, you said Cassiopeia does not roam. That just doesn't happen. Like, you should not, like, it's unlikely you get to roam as Cassiopeia. You can, but not usually. She doesn't have a lot of wave clear. It's just the pressure she has against you. Like, she has to spam abilities on the wave. But I think that... I mean, you could probably just finish the video then. That would be fine.
What?
You're not. I think that, again, Fnatic probably loses this. I think Misfits wins this pretty easily, and unless something about this new patch kind of affects Broxa. So.
I don't even know what they get. Unless Fnatic just comes with a different mindset and mentality of, hey, let's just play for the early game. I
think it's pretty good. I think that Misfits wins this. What's your opinion?
Oh man, yeah. Fnatic are going one. I think that this is the week they're gonna get a win. It just is gonna depend on are they gonna get their win against Rogue or they.
That's your predictions.
Win against Misfits. That's the thing.
All right, so that's pretty much it for us.
Misfits win. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all enjoy. There's been a lot of new people coming into this
Somebody
channel,
said,
so,
you're really stupid, but you're slightly entertaining. I really appreciate that comment the most.
Yeah, because I'm genuinely smart about each he is, so...
Yeah?
Right?
I don't think we need to really comment. Again, the streaming's just for us. I don't think anybody really needs to know. But again, the option's open. We will be streaming these videos if you want to comment on them. So just feel free to drop in if you want to have your kind of questions answered live. So don't flame me, please. All right, see you later.